On today's edition of the Rockbridge Report, with less than 2 weeks until voters hit the polls, we'll show you what the candidates are saying on the campaign trail.
And there's a job opening in Goshen, but so far there are no takers to be the town's next mayor. More on that next.
Virginia residents, be sure to wear your sweaters today for this overcast weather. But don't worry, because this weekend the sunshine will be back out with highs in the 70s and you can put those sweaters away.
And we'll take a look at why Enderley Heights Elementary failed to meet state standards. All that and more coming up next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Paulina Scova.
And I'm Samuel Mao. With less than 2 weeks until election night, candidates are crisscrossing the county, visiting battleground states. New polls indicate a tightening race in some of those states, including Florida and Nevada, which CNN recently reclassified as toss-ups again after having leaned Democratic. And talk continues about Hillary Clinton's emails and Donald Trump's refusal to say in advance if he would accept the results of the election. It's not just the presidential candidates, but their running mates are also on the road in advance of the second to the last weekend of the campaign season. Republican vice presidential nominee Mike Pence visited Nebraska today, while his opposite number, Democratic Virginia Senator Tim Kaine, went to battleground Ohio.
Now, we want to make voting easier and more convenient. You ought to be able to be automatically registered on your 18th birthday.
We've got a basket of the American people who are saying enough is enough.
His running mate, Hillary Clinton, got help from the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama. They are campaigning together in North Carolina. That's where Donald Trump was yesterday. He's scheduled for Ohio today.
Campaigning is much quieter in some Rockbridge County towns. In fact, it's non-existent. Ellen Kanziger visited Goshen, where residents plan to elect a mayor and 2 town council members on November 8th, but only one candidate is on the ballot.
Imagine your town needs a mayor, but there are no candidates on the ballot. Goshen residents will be electing a mayor through the write-in process this year. Although machines can now read voters' handwriting, there is still room for error.
When counting write-in ballots, it's possible that someone might misspell a name. Anything that's identifiable and clearly understood to be a particular person will be counted.
Goshen is one of 2 incorporated towns in Rockbridge County. The 2015 U.S. Census estimates that around 324 people live in the small town. The local government's primary focus is maintaining the local water supply. Goshen citizens elected Justin Thompson to occupy this office in 2010. Joey Sampson defeated him to become mayor in 2014, but resigned after only a year in office. Thompson took over again as the interim mayor until the November election.
It's definitely been a learning. It's had its ups and downs, and it's a thankless job. But you know, I live in the community, and I want to make sure it's the best that it can be for my kids and the future generations coming up.
Additionally, 2 town council seats opened up this year. Tom McCraw is finishing up his first term on the council and is up for re-election. John Hinton will be stepping down from the council, and his seat will also be filled by a write-in candidate.
It's necessary for a community like this one or the other small towns for people on the town council and whatnot to give a hoot. If not, things can go downhill real quick.
Both the mayor's job and the town council seats are volunteer positions, making it hard to find candidates willing to run. Voters will not know the results of the election until all of the names have been counted and their residencies verified. Goshen residents can vote at the Goshen Firehouse on November 8th. I'm Ellen Kanzinger with the Rockbridge Report.
Goshen recently updated the town water system and brought back its Christmas parade. Local officials are looking for other ways to attract people to the area.
Election day is less than 2 weeks away, and the race for Lexington City Council features 5 women competing for 3 open seats. Current council members Marilyn Alexander has served for the past 8 years, and Camille Miller has served for the last 4. First-time candidates Molly Fox, Michelle Hentz, and Leslie Strohan would be new to the council, but together they bring private sector and nonprofit professional experience as well as backgrounds serving on local boards. City Council candidates from Lexington and Buena Vista and candidates for Lexington Mayor spoke about their ideas for the future of the region at a candidates forum on Tuesday evening. Those running for Lexington offices answered questions about downtown enhancement, park maintenance, job growth, and budgeting. Buena Vista City Council candidates discussed issues with the golf course and how to help local schools in the face of budget cuts. The Chamber of Commerce sponsored the forum, which featured questions from Rockbridge area residents, the Lexington Mayor's Youth Council, and audience members at the Hampton Inn Cole Alto.
On November 8th, Virginians will vote on 2 amendments to the state constitution. One proposal would ban union membership as a condition of employment, a concept known as right to work. Virginia has had a right to work law since 1947, but the proposal, known as Amendment 1, would make it more difficult for legislators to remove that provision. The proposal is supported by the State Chamber of Commerce and opposed by the state AFL-CIO. Another proposal would let local governments provide property tax exemptions for spouses of first responders killed in the line of duty.
Pipeline protests have forced officials in North Dakota to shut down part of a highway. The Warren County Sheriff's Department closed part of Highway 1806 indefinitely this week. Cannonball Ranch in Cass County was recently purchased by Dakota Access Pipeline developers. Protesters, many of them Native Americans, do not want the pipeline, and they say they are maintaining peaceful protests. But developers want protesters off their land. The Cass County Sheriff says law enforcement has visited the site and is asking protesters to leave the private property on their own. Protesters built a barricade of their own across the highway, but law enforcement made them take it down because it is illegal to block a public road.
Coming up next on the Rockbridge Report, a look at what Enderley Heights Elementary is doing to raise its students' standardized test scores. And Bray McCarthy will tell you if these cooler temperatures are here to stay with your full 5-day forecast.
And later, we'll give you an inside look at the recent makeovers to Buena Vista's historic Paxton House.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Hi, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry?
9, 8, 7,
1
6,
in 23
5,
million.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
He's on his way. He doesn't even know that we're here. Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay.
Laura.
Okay, try to call him again.
There's no signal.
Try.
Nothing's working.
Well, just
Everything's
try.
down.
This is so bad. He's out there by himself.
Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov.
This year marked the 4th in a row that Enderley Heights Elementary failed to achieve state accreditation. Students missed passing scores by almost 20% on both English and math tests. But as the school is working with teachers to raise those scores, Enderley also faces the task of searching for a new principal. Christy Harris resigned earlier this month after 3 years at Enderley. Our education reporter, Parker Butler, joined us today to explain what happened.
So this is the 4th year in a row that Enderley Heights has failed to achieve state accreditation. And in Virginia, the Virginia Department of Education requires that all public schools meet at least a 70% passing rate for these standardized tests. And this, again, is the 4th year that Enderley has not met those rates, and they are around a 50 percentile of their passing rates.
So are there any special circumstances that are making it difficult for these students to not do as well on their tests?
There are a few factors. I think one of the big ones is that there was a reconfiguration in 2012 where Kling Elementary and Enderley, they kind of split up grades, and now Enderley has 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, and that's kind of the primary age of the standard of learning test takers. And so Enderley's curriculum wasn't quite prepared to start that heavy focused on those test taking qualities. And so now what they're doing is kind of really focusing on the reading and writing elements. And so just trying to reconfigure that's been really hard for them. There's also the factor of just economically disadvantaged students. There's been a significant increase in in the last 10 years, from 30 to 70% of students now are eligible for free and reduced lunches.
You recently spoke with Enderley's former principal, Christy Harris. Did she have anything to say about her resignation?
She did. For one thing, she wishes the best for the school and the teachers. However, she really just kind of pointed to the stress of it all, the stress of not being able to meet these requirements from the state, trying to hire teachers and keep students on track. She is now pursuing a different career as a financial advisor for Edward Jones. That she is really looking forward to, but she really does wish the best for the school.
Well, Bryn, what can our viewers expect to see outside this weekend?
Well, Sam, it's actually getting a lot chillier outside. As you can see from our live footage of Woods Creek, Lexington's weather is really beginning to feel like fall. Moving to our almanac, today's high is 64 degrees and our low is 47. The barometer reads 30.13 inches and we have relatively low wind speeds of about 5 miles per hour and a relatively high humidity of 59%. Moving to our regional map, up north in Stanton, you can see that we have a high of 62, Charlottesville a high of 62 as well. Moving down south in Roanoke, we have temperatures more in the 60s. Moving to our satellite radar composite, you can see that the Mid-Atlantic region has lots of cloud cover, as you can tell here in Lexington from our relatively overcast forecast for today. And for our 5-day forecast, Friday we will have lots of sunshine, a high of 66 degrees and a low of 42. Saturday we'll get a little bit cloudier but with a very high temperature of 76 and a low of 53. Sunday the sun will be back out with a very high of 76 degrees and a low of 50. Monday you can still expect a little bit of sunshine with a low of 50 degrees. And Tuesday, get out your umbrellas because it's looking like rain, but with a high of 71 and a low of 49. Back to you.
Thank you, Bryn. There are serious concerns for the plight of at least 1,200 children who have been left in limbo after the evacuation of a French migrant camp known as the Jungle. Aid groups say many young people were left without shelter overnight after French authorities closed down the camp. Melissa Bell reports from Calais.
Day 4 of the evacuation of the Jungle by French authorities, and the demolition is now well underway inside. And yet, on this site, there are still 1,500 children. Those are the figures of Calais' own mayor. Most of them slept last night in those containers. Many others, though, were obliged to sleep rough simply because they hadn't been registered in time. Hello, you slept out here with some of your friends. How many people slept here last night?
13 people, back people sleep here.
Children?
Oh, children, yes. Where the police France? Police France finish jungle. The people sleep here.
Thank you. We've been speaking to care workers as well, who tell us that beyond those who were obliged to sleep rough out here while they waited to be registered, dozens of others were helped overnight and able to sleep in some of the shabby structures that still exist within the jungle.
I was in one of the schools in the jungle, and I had a group of about 35, I think, kids sleeping in the school. They slept comfortably. We had mattresses and sleeping bags. The kids were terrified. The kids were really terrified, and they were really grateful that they had somewhere to sleep tonight.
For now, dozens of children are still trying to get registered here. In the meantime, they don't know where they'll be sleeping tonight. Melissa Bell, CNN at the Jungle in Calais.
Downtown Lexington will be hosting a new kind of parade in January of next year. The Lexington City Council approved a permit last week for an anti-racism parade that will be held on Main Street during Martin Luther King Jr. Day weekend. The city has not yet received an official parade request from the Sons of Confederate Veterans, the group that traditionally hosts a Lee Jackson Day parade that same weekend. Leaders from the Community Anti-Racism Education Initiative of Rockbridge, who are sponsoring the parade, said they hope the event will celebrate community diversity and nonviolence.
Up next, how Rockbridge area children celebrated Halloween just a little early this year.
And Washington and Lee's football team gave returning generals just one more reason to celebrate last weekend. Keenan Willard has the highlights and the latest in national sports.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
No more pencils, no more books,
no more teachers, dirty looks.
School's out for summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Halloween is right around the corner, but one of Buena Vista's oldest haunts isn't quite so spooky anymore. Reporter Julia Gazelle has the story on the Paxton House restoration.
Buena Vista locals used to remember the Paxton House as an abandoned haunted mansion only open on Halloween. But after 20 years of work, the Paxton House Historical Society has restored the home and opened it to the public. The house dates all the way back to 1831 and was named for its longest tenant, Elisha Paxton. It is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and is a Virginia Historic Landmark. Paxton was the son of Revolutionary War Captain William Paxton and a generous businessman in Buena Vista. All the materials he used to build the house came from the area. The Society hopes the restorations will help preserve the legacy of his family and BV.
We need to remind people of the past and the significant achievements that the people of the past did here in Buena Vista.
Before the renovations, plaster fell from the ceiling and wallpaper peeled away. But now, the home boasts a new roof, fresh paint, and its original floors and mortar work.
It looks fantastic. It really is. They've pulled off miracles restoring that house and preserving some of the history.
The restorations wouldn't have been possible without help from the community. Private donations and a quarterly grant of $10,000 from the city have funded most of the work.
The people of Buena Vista and outside of Buena Vista have donated for the restoration, so we would like to have it to be used by the people, the very people who have donated to the restoration process.
The Society hopes the house will be used for educational programs, civic purposes, and even weddings. Tours are available by appointment and on selected days throughout the year. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Julia Gazelle.
The house will be open for Christmas tours in December and will be decorated for the holiday season.
The Rockbridge Area Recreational Organization is $20,000 away from breaking ground on its next project, the Brubaker Annex. RARO provides an outlet for children in the Rockbridge area to participate in a variety of sports teams. It is a rapidly growing organization and has raised most of the $180,000 it needs to build the practice fields. The new project will include a Little League baseball field and a multi-purpose field, but no lights for night games.
And we now turn to Keenan Willard for the latest in sports.
Thanks a lot, Sam. First up in sports this week, the 4-3 Redskins take on the Cincinnati Bengals at 3-4 in London this Sunday. It's the first regular season game across the pond for these two teams. Kickoff's at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, so don't stay up too late Saturday night. The Cubs return to Wrigley Field, tied with the Indians and set to host a World Series game for the first time since 1945. Kyle Hendricks starts for Chicago in Game 3 on Friday night against Cleveland's Josh Tomlin. Closer to home in general sports, football played the rival Hampton-Sydney Tigers on Saturday at Wilson Field. It was Young Alumni Weekend, so there was a massive turnout. Wilson Field was packed to the brim for fans to cheer on the Generals. Evan Hinkle got the offense started on Saturday, bursting his way into the end zone to start the scoring off. He was excited. This offense didn't let up, rushing for 600 yards on the ground, and that really got the stadium going. Very much so. Walker Brand kept it up. This offense did not take their foot off the gas, and folks, he took that jet sweep and absolutely walked it in. A dominant performance from the offensive line in this game for the Generals as well. And even in the waning seconds of the game, the Generals did not take their foot off the gas. Patrick Ryan picked that ball up and waltzed it into the end zone. That's another touchdown, and that made the score 52-7 to end the game. And the Generals celebrated, pretty much locking up, won the top spot in the ODAC. In lacrosse news, they're going to take on VMI in the 29th annual Lee Jackson Classic tomorrow at 7 p.m. They'll be collecting donations to support Project Horizon. The game will be held on VMI's drill field too. Women's soccer topped Randolph-Macon 1-0 in yesterday's game. Sophomore midfielder Megan England scored the game-winning goal. The Lady Generals wrap up regular season play on Saturday at Emory and Henry. In volleyball, they swept Hollins 3-0 on Tuesday. With the victory, the team secured the second seed in the ODAC tournament. In more college sports, SVU women's soccer ended their season on Wednesday night with a 2-1 loss at Frostburg State. The Knights were 5-11 this fall. And for VMI, the Keydets football team lost at Chattanooga last weekend. They play their third of 4 games at home this season against Furman. In high school sports, the Rockbridge County High School Wildcats football team has lost each of their 8 games this season. They play on their home turf this Friday against Stanton River. Sam?
Thank you for the updates, Keenan.
Halloween came early this year at Hull's Drive-In Theater. Hundreds of people showed up for the 4th annual Halloween Bash. The festivities included pumpkin decorating, costume contests, and movie showings. But children will have another opportunity to wear their costumes on Monday for Halloween. Downtown Lexington will be holding trick-or-treating from 3:30 to 5, while downtown Buena Vista hours are 4 to 6.
That's all for today's edition of the Rockbridge Report. I'm Samuel Mao.
And I'm Polly Noskova. Tune in again on Tuesday for an update at 3 or next Thursday at 4:30, or visit our website at any time at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. Thank you for watching.